Well, now, this is the big question now. Between buying or renting your home, what's the best? By the way, I'm making this video out of the demand of you guys told me, hey, you know what, Joseph? Hey, is it good to build your house? Is it good to rent? Which one is better, especially when you're young, especially when you're old, whatever? Which one is more appropriate and that kind of a thing? So today I'm going to talk about between buying and renting. Let's just put it on the board. They say if you think it, you do what? You're right, you ink it. Between buying and what? And renting. Which one is far much better? Which one would you go for? Which one is actually assures you that you're actually moving in the right direction? Now, here it depends, okay? Simple terms like this. When you say you're buying, it simply means that you want to own that specific home. Let's say, or the process of buying or building, whichever the thing it is. Now, the question is this. If you want to actualize you owning a home, if you want to own a home, for example, how much do you need in Kenya? Approximately in Kenya, if you want to get yourself, I want to say, I'm not going to say like a big home and just a place where you can say, hey, this is my place. You need approximately like 4.5 million. Okay, 4.5 million. 4.5 million. This one, maybe you probably go buy a piece of land at around 1.5 million and then you build a home worth like 3 million. You have a home, boom. So you have your 4.5 million. So that's what will cost you. So now the question is this, between buying and renting. So the question should be, do you have the capacity to buy? If the answer is yes, fine. How much do you have? I have 4.5 million. Amazing. So you qualify. But just because you qualify does not mean you should go for it. There's an extra step that you need to consider, which is this. I have this 4.5 million in my bank account or in my savings. Obviously, I expect that money to be in a savings or rather investments or whatever the thing it is. Okay, now the point is this. Now if I get my 4.5 million, I use the entire stretch of cash, I get myself a home, I have a home, I'm good to go. But now the question is, what have I sacrificed? Do I have it? Where did I get this money? The question is, where did I get this money? Did I get this money out of my own investment? That means that I already have an existing structure. I have an existing structure that is making me money. Let's say maybe you have a business running somewhere. Let's say you have a business and this business is giving you a cash flow. Maybe per month is giving you a cash flow of 100,000, 100K, or maybe gives you like 80,000, 80K. That cash flow, assuming it's the gross profit, you deduct what we call, assuming the net profit, you deduct what we call the recurrent expenditure. That recurrent expenditure, let's say you are left with something, let's say it's 100, maybe you're left with 50K out of that. So this 50K, you can pump it into an investment or something of sort. At that particular case, that is amazing. You know what? You want to own a home. How much will it cost? 4.5. Oh, okay. Do you have the money? Oh, yes, I do have the money. Okay, the next step. Where did you get the money? I got the money from a business that I ran. Oh, okay, amazing. Oh, I got this money from a job that I have. How much do you make? I make 100,000. Okay, was it your savings or did you borrow the money? Okay, it was my savings, okay? Oh, it was your savings. Okay, fine. How long did it take you to actually save this amount of money? I was actually saving 40,000 each and every month because I have this dream of owning a home. So it took me approximately 5 or 6 years to save this amount of money. Okay, now you want to own a home. Then you go back to zero. Then you start saving again for the purposes of investment because this is not an investment. Buying a home is not an investment. It's not. It is in one way or the other, but it's not fully an investment. Why? It doesn't give you any cash flow. Now the point is this. No, I did not save. I saved a little bit of it, but I borrowed an extra cash to actually top up the 4.5 million. That one is a little bit of a different case. I wouldn't really recommend that. Borrowing to build your own home that does not generate any income. Therefore, the money that you need to pay back that home that you have actually bought or buy or build, you need to use that energy that you're trading and the skill. And there is one thing that we know about the energy and the skill. Skill may increase as the time goes, but the energy goes down, meaning that your productivity goes down. And when you have the energy, the skills, and the time, you have to leverage on the investment so that you uplift your passive income because the active income is going down. Did you get all those factors that I have considered? Not just because I have the 4.5 million I qualify to build. You have to consider all those factors. My cash flow, whether it's affected, did I borrow this money, did I save, how long did I save, and all those kind of things. Okay, now that is when you're actually buying a home that you want to consider. Another thing that you can consider is this. Hey, guess what? I have a business that is running. My cash flow is okay. I do not have any business, or rather I do not have any problem. Now you ask yourself, how is the health of this business? Is it a business that is promising? If it is a business that is promising, And if you were to pumping a little bit of cash into the business, then that actually can assure you that you can make more. Or maybe scaling up the business so that you can make more will be far much better than acquisition of a home. But you have to consider some factors, which is it. Businesses are high risk because they have high returns, and business can go south. So you want to move in a situation where that you don't want to lose your money, and at the same time you don't want to put your money in an idle situation. So yes, don't want to lose your money, but at the same time you want to grow it at the same time. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be a bit smart when you're dealing with these two things, okay? Now, we go to the next point. Now, if you're in a situation whereby you do not have this cash to build this home, therefore, by default, you do not qualify to own a home by virtue of either buying or building. Therefore, the question of which is the best, it is out of the question. Why? Because you do not qualify in the first place. We speak the language of qualification, or which one is the best, if you on the platform of the qualification. And if you're on the platform of qualification, then go ahead and ask yourself all those factors that I've named here. Why? You find somebody having this 4.5 million, nothing else is the only savings, the job where you are employed, you're not even assured whether you'll be there next month, and then you go buy yourself a piece of land, you build yourself a home, and guess what happens now? After 3 months, you're fired. Yes, you have a home, and guess what? You have more bills to pay. Because this home of 3.5 million probably has more bulbs that consume light. That means that you have to pay a lot of money. You have been connected to water. You have to pay those water. You have to pay the land rates. You have to make sure that you ensure the security of your compound. Actually, it becomes more liability than you thought it is an investment. So it is good to make sure that, guess what? Where I got this money, it's a wishy-washy area. It's not an area that I can say I'm 100% sure that next month, the other month, and the other month, I'll be actually there. So you actually move from an uncertainty to certainty. Whatever, if you are employed somewhere, whether you signed a contract or you did not sign a contract, BS happens. It is good to make sure that at least you move from the uncertainty to certainty. I would rather even say, instead of building your own home with 4.5 million, get yourself a piece of land, build yourself some several units of 1 bedrooms. Once you build yourself that several units of 1 bedrooms, guess what happens now? You can actually rent 2 or 3 and live in 1. That property that you're having, it's no longer having just a liability. It's a property that is actually generating some cash flow. Assuming that you get yourself like 3 or 4 one bedroom units, you're renting one at 7,000. You have 4 of them. You have 28,000. Okay, and then you have yourself a home. Assuming you are getting maybe, let's say, 70,000 or 100,000. At least you're not getting the 100,000, but the rent is you're not paying it, and there is an extra 28,000 coming in. So therefore, you can look for another gig, as you know, at least I can eat and do other things. That is the kind of a mathematics that you actually consider. Okay, now let's go to the point of renting. So what are the advantages of actually renting without you buying? Number one, when you rent, you actually do not have, for example, where I live, obviously I rent, okay, I haven't built my own home, okay, one day I will. Now the point is this, when you rent, this major repairs is no longer under your case. For example, let's say the door falls, just call the landlord. Hey, you know what? Early in the morning, the door just fell. So you come repair the door. The security of the home. Obviously, you have to be responsible for the security of your house, but overly in that locality that you live, it's not your responsibility. And again, for example, if I take my money and pay that rent, then I'm able to give what we call the breathability allowance to focus my money. Instead of lying it idle, I can focus on growing my money, spending my money into an investment, which gives me the returns. Then later, I can be able to build. By the way, if you ask me, I would prefer somebody rent, but depends. Depends. I did not say forever and ever in the rest of your life rent. No, personally, I love to own my home. That's an amazing thing. Just because I qualify to build does not mean I should build. You're supposed to ask yourself, this renting, to what extent am I expecting to rent? You have to give yourself some time frames. You ask yourself, I have this 4.5 million, could have actually built my home, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use this money, 4.5 million. I would rather put this money into a treasury bond that gives maybe for 8 years or whatever the period it is. I borrow against that bond. I build myself a home. I'm able to pay my loan as I'm instructed. But I know one thing, after a period of say 5 years, if I'm required to pay my loan after 5 years, I have managed to pay my loan, and after say the 8th year, I'm going to get my 4.5 back, obviously with an interest. Therefore, I can actually use my 4.5 million or maybe more than that, be able to invest it and grow some cash or grow some things. That is exactly how you do it. Because don't choose to rent and then risk this amount of money. Either way, you're not supposed to lose. Whether you buy or rent, you're supposed to make sure that at least you safeguard your money. Remember what I told you guys, the most important thing that you can ever do in life is to do what we call the capital preservation. You have this 4.5 million, you don't want to rent, or rather you don't want to buy, but you can decide, let me put this money into a treasury bond. Treasury bonds gives me around 16 or 17%. That money I save, I put it there for the next 8 years. Instead of taking this money to build, I borrow against that money. I build myself with that loan. I be paying that loan continuously. Yes, even if I'm going to be using a little bit from my salary, that's no problem. But I know one thing, after next period of time, say 4 or 5 years, depends on how long you've taken that loan for, I'm going to get my 4.5 million back. And obviously it would be 4.5 million. It will be more because I have some interest that has gained out of that. Then I'll win. I'll have my home, I have my money, and still I have the character of what we call the investment, saving, and management, and also what we call the delayed gratification, rather than what we call instant gratification, where you want to get that thing like right now. That is not exactly how we do the things as far as the investments are concerned. Now, this is what we do it. So the question of should I buy, should I rent, should be subjected to that scrutiny that I've actually scrutinized out there. But let's take a case scenario of an individual who is at 50. A scenario of an individual who is at 50, probably the kids are actually mature. They're about to get out of home, or they have already gotten out of the home. And this individual, the family has expanded. And I always tell people, the moment you realize that in life, you're required to go and rent a house that has more than 3 bedrooms, that should give you something. That should tell you you're supposed to move forward to actually building your own home. Because the moment you are at 50 years, obviously the language of building your home, it is not out of question. You need to have a place where you can relax. You don't need to have the hassles and bustles of paying the rent and water bill, follow up from the tenants, or rather follow up from the landlords or landladies or the agents on whoever the thing they are. Okay, point should be at maybe let's say somebody at 25, at 30. You have this kind of money. Don't rush to playing safe too early. Because you find somebody taking this money, you go buy yourself a property somewhere. You can even get somebody taking this amount of money, going buying 5 or 6, 7 acres of land somewhere, just because you can qualify. But the question is, for God's sake, you are 28 years old. There are people who are lucky they get this amount of money as early as they can. Okay? At that, you have this amount of money. You go buy that property somewhere, or rather buy that asset somewhere in terms of land. That land does not generate you anything. You're not even doing farming. You'd rather even take this, maybe take 1.2, maybe drill a borehole, do farming from that piece of land. For example, if you take this 4.5 in Kenya, you can go buy yourself a couple of acres of land in some remote places. You can drill, maybe you can use like 3 or maybe 2.5 million, and then the extra you can maybe drill water and do the farming. At least you're doing something. You're speaking the language of investment. Rather than just buying a piece of property somewhere, you throw it there and keep it there, and that's not exactly how we do it. You know what, guys? That marks the end of my video. So the question is, between renting and buying, it is not renting, it is not buying. Depends with your age, where you are, and the level of your income. Then compare and contrast the two. Then you can pick the one that is appropriate for you, and that is how you move towards the either buying or actually selling. It depends. That's the question. Find out who you are. Consider all the factors that I've shared with you. For now, it's a goodbye, but see you in the next one. By the way, don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. For now, it's a goodbye. See you in the next one.